We're going to do a single leg stance on the Airex pad. This is going to be a great exercise to reestablish proprioception and stability at the foot and ankle. So I'm going to have Brett stand on here with both legs, and he's just going to do an alternating single leg stance. So he's going to bring one leg up, try to get it to a 90-degree flex position, hold for a moment, come back down. I'm going to have to do a couple reps. I want to see he's working to stabilize at that foot and ankle. You can see him kind of wobbling back and forth. That's what we're looking to work on. From there, if they're doing a really good job, a simple progression is simply remove their shoes. Take away that external stability they get through wearing their shoes and having a sole under their foot. Now they're really going to have to work those intrinsic foot muscles underneath to maintain stability of his trunk upwards. So now you can really see him working there at the foot. You see those ankle muscles, those peroneal muscles, lower leg muscles working to maintain stability. And this is, again, going to be a great exercise to start to develop proprioception stability in the lower leg. We're going to do a split squat stability hold on the Airex pad. This is going to be a great way to develop lower leg proprioception and stability, especially following an ankle sprain. So I'm going to have Brett start by just doing a hold. So he's going to put his front foot on there, lower himself down till his upper leg is about parallel to the floor. And again, he can just start to progress this by holding for time. I can also challenge him by adding a little bit of perturbation and pushing him a bit to force him to stabilize through the ankle, lower leg, and hip. But then if I want to continue to progress him, I can just make this dynamic. So I'm going to have him go up, lower himself down, hold for a second, come back up. Now to add a little bit of dynamic movement to continue to challenge his multiplanar stability in this split position. All right, we're going to do a reaching single leg deadlift on the Airex pad. This is going to be a great hip as well as lower leg stability exercise. So I'm going to have Brett step up here with his foot. I want him to think about reaching, getting as long as he can, reaching his hand towards that wall, reaching his foot back behind him, and you can see him working to stabilize in multiple planes through the hip as well as the lower leg. We can start to progress this by adding reps, and then a real simple progression from there simply is to remove his shoes. Take away the external stability that he gets from the sole of the shoe. So he's going to step up there, and this is really going to challenge the intrinsic foot and ankle muscles to maintain stability in multiple planes. So now he's going to reach. You can really see at the foot and ankle how it's challenging him to maintain his trunk, hip, and foot stability. Again, this is a great exercise to regain stability and proprioception following an ankle injury. We're going to do a hip bridge progression on the Airex pad. This is going to be a great posterior chain exercise to develop his glutes and his hamstrings. So I'm going to have Brett lay down. He's going to put his heels up on the Airex pad. We're going to scoot his butt close so he has some knee flexion. I want to see his ankles dorsiflexed up towards his shins. So he's going to be pressing down through his heels. We're going to start with a bilateral bridge. This is where I would start with a beginner before progressing to something unilateral. So I want to see Brett take a big breath in the nose. Exhale, he's going to draw those ribs down, create some tension in his abdominals. And then I want him to bridge his hips up, hold. I want to see a straight line from his knee to his shoulders. I want to see that he can maintain good hip extension while maintaining stability in his trunk and pelvis. From here, if we want to challenge him a little bit more, I'm going to have him come down, and we're just going to do a unilateral variation. So I'm going to have him bring his knee up towards his chest, hold that position there, do the same exact exercise. Big breath in, big breath out, brace those abdominals, bridge up. Now he's really challenging that hamstring and that glute to maintain hip extension. Again, this is going to be a great exercise to teach people how to extend their hip without compensating through their pelvis and lumbar spine. We're going to do a front plank on the Airex pad. The Airex pad provides some comfort and support in the forearms and elbows, especially if you're on a hard surface. So we like to plank on here so the client's nice and comfortable in the position. So I'm going to have Brett come down. We want to see that his elbows are directly beneath his shoulders. I'm going to have him start in this quadruped position and get some abdominal tension. I'll typically say push your back into my hand, take a big breath in and out. Then I want him to straighten his legs out behind him with his feet and legs right together and think about squeezing those legs tight and contracting his glutes. What I want to see is a nice straight line from his head to his pelvis. So a helpful thing you can do as a coach often is I'll say, put this at the thoracic spine. I'll say, bring your head up to the stick till it touches, make a double chin, okay? And then I want to see he has 3 points of contact from the back of his head, his thoracic spine, all the way down to his sacrum. This is going to ensure that they get nice alignment throughout the entire exercise. We're simply going to progress this for time. So I'm going to have Brett think about breathing in the nose, out the mouth, and I'm simply going to increase the duration of the hold. From there, if we want to progress beyond an isometric variation, we're going to do a dynamic version where he's going to do foot lifts. So I'm going to have Brett just slightly split the feet out. And now I'm going to have him alternate lifting his feet up off the ground. I want to see that he's able to maintain stability of his pelvis and spine. I don't want him tipping side to side. The cue I like to give to my clients is imagine like I put a glass of water on your low back and I don't want it to spill. We want to see that he's able to maintain stability in the transverse plane while alternating lifting those feet up off the ground. We're going to do a side plank on the Airex pad. The Airex pad provides some support and comfort for the client, especially on turf or a hard surface. Sometimes they're going to be uncomfortable with their forearm down. The Airex pad makes them nice and comfortable in position so they can focus on the exercise. The side plank is going to be a lateral frontal plane stability exercise for the obliques and pelvis. I want to see that Brett has his elbow right above his shoulder so he has a nice base of support. He's going to stack his legs up on top of one another. I want him to think about bracing tight and squeezing those legs tight before he even lifts the ground. Get himself some tension in his abdominals. Then we're simply going to lift up. And I want to see a nice straight line from his head all the way down to his feet, that he's able to maintain this position. We're not overextending, we're not flexing, we're not side bending. I want him to think about breathing in the nose, out the mouth, to be able to recruit those abdominal muscles. And we're simply going to progress him by increasing the duration of the hold. If this is too difficult for your client, you can simply regress it to a tall kneeling side plank. So I want him to just bend those knees, keep his knees on the ground. And now we're just shortening the lever of that side plank exercise. So he's going to lift up, think about squeezing those legs together tight. And then as we increase this duration, over time, we'll be able to progress back to that normal side plank exercise. We're going to do a half kneeling stability chop on the Airex pad. The Airex pad is going to provide a little bit of support and comfort underneath the knee for the client so they can focus on the exercise rather than maybe discomfort on a hard surface with their knee. So I'm going to show Shelby get here at half kneeling position. I want her outside knee down. I want to see a nice straight line from her knee up to her pelvis. We're really going to be focusing on multiplanar trunk as well as hip stability. What I want to see is that she's not wavering from side to side in this half kneeling position. I want her hand up at the top of the stick there. I want her other hand about 3/4 of the way down here. She's going to pull it down, bringing that wrist towards her chest, and I want her to think about punching that top hand across towards the ground. We want to see that she's able to try to maintain that pillar stability in her trunk and her pelvis. From there, if it's too hard, sometimes we're going to see people wobble, especially at the hips. We're just going to have her go to a tall kneeling position with 2 knees. Dig both toes down on the ground. We want to think, kind of crunch those ribs down, get some good connection between your rib cage and your pelvis using those anterior abdominals. And we're going to do the same exercise, bring it down, punch across, holding there. Now it's really more of a trunk exercise, less of a hip stability exercise. Again, once they develop some stability here, we can just progress right back up to half kneeling and then start focusing on developing stability in that hip.